Finance. And we're going to welcome Tim from Mortgage Choice. Hello, Tim.
Hi, how are you?
Standing in
well.
for Rob today. Rob's
In Argentina. I can't do an Argentinian accent. I'm really going to try.
Yeah, he is overseas, living it up.
Yeah, he certainly is. I think he might be back now. If not, he'll be
He's probably
on
sleeping
the plane
then.
anyway. Yeah.
Well, welcome
Nice.
anyway, Tim. It's lovely to have you in standing in for Rob, and it's good to change things up a little bit too, because you're a financial planner inside Mortgage Choice. I think you're now called Penrith and Blue Mountains. I think
Blaxland and Penrith.
Oh, Blaxland and
Yep.
Penrith.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're a financial planner within that office. So you actually come to the table with a different skill set to what Rob has. So today we're going to be talking about proposed changes to the superannuation laws that come into effect. Well, they're not proposed. They're actually coming into effect on the 1st of July. So first cab off the rank, what are the changes?
Yeah, there's quite a few. So I thought I'd go through some of the major ones. And, to kick it off, it relates to the level of contributions that you can put into superannuation, both pre-tax and also after-tax. So, unfortunately, they're reducing the amount that you can get in. So, pre-tax contributions is going down to $25,000 for everyone, no matter how old you are.
Right.
At the moment, if you're below 50, you can get in $30,000, and if you're over 50, it's $35,000. So, particularly those people over 50. That's a $10,000 drop per annum.
Yeah.
For those that are making the maximum contributions.
And so that's you said pre-taxed?
Yes, so could be examples of that are salary sacrifice contributions, what you receive from your employer as compulsory contributions. So yeah, it is a big change that's coming up, and it's not just affecting the pre-tax contributions. There's after-tax contribution limits that are decreasing as well. So at the moment, it's $180,000 per annum, and that's dropping to $100,000. So there's a big difference there.
So can I ask you a question then in regards to the after-tax contributions?
Yep.
So if you had property in superannuation and you sold the property and you made a capital gain on that, does that fall under that banner or not, because the self-managed super fund owns it anyway?
Yeah, it doesn't come under that banner. Maybe an example where someone would make an after-tax contribution is, getting closer to retirement. They might have an investment property and they're thinking, don't want to maintain this property anymore in our retirement, so we want to sell it.
Yep.
Obviously, the proceeds hit the bank account and then contributions made from there. So that would be a common scenario that we'd see with after-tax contributions.
So with the new changes, it's $100,000.
Yeah, so
it's not a lot of money when you look at money these days.
There's a bring forward rule which exists now and it will exist going forward. So you can bring up to 3 years worth of contributions in one go. So that'll mean, assuming you haven't made any contributions before, or after-tax contributions, that you could do 300. But at the moment, that's $540,000. So yeah, big difference there.
And when you consider if the general rule of thumb is that would be people who would be selling off property, the largest asset generally, and throwing it into their super fund as cash to then draw as a pension for retirement. When you look at the value of property these days, you kind of think, wow, that's
a really good point, and it's going to affect a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate, but that's
it is what it is. We don't make the rules; we just got to abide by them.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So what else can we expect?
Yeah, so there are a few. Probably one of the beneficial things that are going to happen is that the spouse contribution limits are changing. So at the moment, you can make spouse contributions to your spouse if their income's less than $13,800, and you would actually be eligible to get a tax offset of $540,000. So the threshold in terms of spouse's income's increasing up to $37,000.
So your spouse has to be earning less than $37,000 for you to be able to contribute some super on their behalf.
Yeah, we'll get the tax off. So at the moment, it's only $13,800. So it's just going to
quite a big jump.
Yeah, so there's going to be more opportunity for people to make that spouse contribution and get that tax off.
So that sounds like it might be a good change.
That's a good change.
Yes, a good change.
Yeah.
Particularly for women, I would think would be, because that's one of the biggest issues with women, isn't it, down the track with retiring and the super balance and so forth. But
well, there's a massive.
We can talk about that for hours. Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
Yeah, and I guess just want to stress the importance of reviewing your own strategy, because the transition to retirement is one where there's going to be some major changes. So if you've got a transition to retirement strategy in place at the moment, really encourage you to actually sit down and review that, because those
This
contributions...
stuff changes so often, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it does. I mean, it's not every year. I mean, sometimes they'll make small changes, but this year in particular, there's a lot. And I'm not even going to be going through all of them today. It's just some of the major ones. So, yeah.
Do you expect more changes to come out of the budget?
Yeah, quite possibly. Although I think that, a lot of them have come about. So if we see any, I don't think it'll be much.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
the major ones from the last budget, which are now taking effect come 1 July. So, yeah.
So what are some of the other important ones?
Yeah, so just with the transition to retirement, the part of that strategy can relate to the level of contribution. So obviously the reduction of contributions that you can get in will affect it. The other thing too, at the moment with the transition to retirement account, the earnings within that fund is tax-free. Okay, so what's happening from 1 July is that there will be tax on earnings, which is 15%. Okay, so there's obviously something that's not so good in regards to that strategy. But, so 15% is still a low tax rate, and that's in line with your ordinary superannuation earnings tax too. So just something to be aware of. I think it's going to will reduce the suitability of that strategy for a lot of people compared to what it has been. But, it's not... It still will be beneficial for people. So it's just a case of, I guess, getting the right advice as to whether it's appropriate or not.
Do you think there's an age where people should start to consider a retirement strategy, or it really depends on what?
I think, someone in their 20s, to be honest.
Wow.
And, it's not necessarily about putting extra money into super, but, they could be thinking about, how that super fund's invested, making sure that's appropriate for the longer term. If they've got multiple funds lying around the place, getting them into one, making it easier to manage, reducing fees.
We just got to bring it more into the awareness of now, right? Because it just is on the back burner in people's minds, and we've really got to take
It's like paying off their mortgage, isn't it? They just think, it's 30 years, won't worry about it.
But as I said, I mean, someone in their 20s doesn't necessarily have to think about adding extra in the super. If they can, that's great. But obviously, most of the time, they're going to have other priorities. But it's those little things in terms of making sure it's invested appropriately. It's no matter what age, you should be looking at that. Yeah. And that can make a big difference in the long run.
Yeah. All right. So if we do have people out there that haven't got a relationship with a financial planner and they want to have a discussion, because I think what you've just outlined for us is that it's really important at any age, just because of what the legislative changes that you can see, you might be thinking you're on the right road, but maybe some of these changes might impact you. So where can they can call in down there? Do you sit in the Penrith office or the Blaxland office?
Oh, I'm at both. So
I knew he was going to say that. A few days here and a few days there.
It's really wherever I need to be, basically. So if anyone wants to have a chat, give our Blaxland office a call, which is 4739 9749. And if I'm not there, the ladies there will be able to organise or tee up an appointment with myself anyway.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Tim.